we were there before the freeze or before the cold weather, and so the mapani leaves were on all the trees. And best case scenario, when you were down there and we were on tracks, you might be able to see 50 yards, maybe. And I mean, we were busting buffalo that were 30 yards from us and never even saw them. That SCI is truly first for all hunters.
Yep.
And so whether you hunt rabbits or if you're just a deer hunter in somewhere in the South, SCI is here and they're protecting our rights and do it daily, because our rights are always being encroached by people that oppose our point of view. So we generated our best year so far to date, just over $1 million in a one-day event, which is something that we as board members, had set as a goal years ago, but weren't sure if we were ever going to be able to achieve. So it's nice to see that our fruition come true.
What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 2 of the Tejas Hunt Club Podcast. This was going to be pretty cool. We get to sit down with Brandon Bredemeyer, who is the president of the West Texas SCI chapter. We got to cover their event a couple weeks back. We did photography and videography for him, and I wanted to sit down with him and talk about the event, him hunting, what it takes to be a president for an SCI chapter. So coming up, we're going to actually be going to our first Bay competition down in Nixon, Texas. It's going to be the El Perro Loco Bay Comp. I'm actually going to enter Shadow and Case, my 2 dogs, in the Bay competition, see how they do. Pretty excited about that. We're also going to be getting ready for TAC, Total Archery Challenge. In podcast land, it is February 7th, so tomorrow is the sign up for the Texas event. So when you hear this, I'm sorry, it's too late to sign up. But right now, it's still enough time. After that, we're going to be turkey hunting. We got a couple trips lined up that we're going to go on. 2 right now are filming jobs. So we'll be filming somebody else hunting, but we'll probably try to squeeze in some hunting in ourselves there. Hopefully some fishing trips coming this spring. We have a couple guys we're going to be working with, creating some content for them. Or if you are a guide for hunting or fishing and you need content created, hit us up. BarMC Media, we do great work. We'll work with you, create you some stuff. We run your social media pages, help you out. Digital marketing needs. Future episodes coming up. We're going to be sitting down with Charlie Maynard, a safari specialist. We're going to do an Idaho recap, Jared and I's mule deer trip that we did back in November. Wild Bill Weekly. He's if you don't follow him on Instagram, you should. He's got some pretty cool photography and stuff that he does with wildlife. He's going to be on the podcast. We're going to have Tom Paul Glazer from Texas Buck Registry, kind of talk about the registry and what they have planned for this year. If you don't follow them, you should. It's a statewide thing. If you shot a buck this year, you should get it registered on Texas Buck Registry. And we got some more episodes coming up too. We want to sit down with people, talk about hunting, talk about fishing, talk about how to make sure we keep it going, and our kids and grandkids get to do it. So appreciate y'all listening to the podcast. This is something new we're trying, so I'm sure we're going to have things we're going to mess up, but we're going to try and keep those to a minimum. If you don't follow us on social, please do. We have Tejas Hunt Club on Instagram. It's BarMC Media on Instagram. It's BarMC Media on YouTube. My personal is McDowell_Brandon. We'll be doing this podcast. I'll have other hosts. Meagan will be hosting some podcasts. She'll be here sometimes. Buddy Jared, we're going to do the Idaho recap with. He'll be here on hosting sometimes. So thanks again for listening to the podcast. Really appreciate it. Follow us on social. We'll be dropping these podcasts weekly, as long as we keep guests coming in. So if you want to be on the podcast, if you have an idea for the podcast, something you want us to talk about, somebody you want us to get on, let us know. Comment, DM. Oh, also, I know this is the second episode, but if you liked it, leave us a rating. We definitely appreciate it. We're going to have all the podcasts on Spotify, Apple, and then we'll have the videos all posted on our YouTube channel as well. So, no more talking. Let's get into the podcast with Brandon. Thanks, guys. Tejas Hunt Club Podcast is the podcast for you and you and you and you. What's up, guys? Welcome to the podcast. I am sitting this afternoon with Brandon he's the president of the SCI West Texas chapter. We actually at BarmC Media covered the event for him, did photography and videography. It was an awesome event. It was our first time going out there. My first trip to Midland. So you always hear about it growing up in Texas, Midland, Odessa area and everything. But it was nice to head out there for the first time and get to see it. But I am going to turn it over to Brandon here for a second, let him introduce himself, kind of give his background, I guess, and how he grew up hunting and fishing. Or I know he's a shotgun guy. That's kind of how how I found his page, Sporting Clay Stuff. He got some pretty cool pictures. So I'm going to turn it over to him and let him introduce himself.
Brandon, thanks first of all I appreciate you having me on and inviting me to do a cast with you. My name is Brandon Bredemeyer. I grew up out here in Midland, Odessa, Texas, and currently serve as the president of the West Texas chapter, Safari Club International.
Awesome, man. So how did you get involved with SCI in general, and then kind of how did you decide, or what was the point where you decided that you wanted to be more involved and become president of an actual chapter?
So it probably started, I moved out here in 2005, and getting to be around other people that hunted a lot and things like that, I got invited to one of the local SCI banquet events, and so I went to that my first time, I think in 2009, I believe, and that really opened my eyes to some of the hunting opportunities that were out there. Prior to that, I thought hunting abroad and hunting overseas might be something that's unattainable, financially for me at the time.
Yeah.
But it really opened my eyes on how reasonable some of the hunts were, and how easy the access was. So I started going to those events since that point in time, and really just started asking questions about getting involved. And I joined in 2009 and have been a member ever since. So
yeah, it's always it's different. I guess for me, like growing up in Texas, like you kind of hear about, you always know somebody's uncle or somebody's cousin or, something like that, or somebody in general that's like gone abroad and hunted different places, international, Africa, of course. And then you get into the Asia stuff, but you're correct in saying like you hear about it, but you don't really know how it goes down or how it happens. And for most part, what you hear is really, really expensive. And it's something that you're like maybe later in life that you can do. But like you said, getting involved and learning about those different opportunities is eye-opening for sure.
absolutely.
But yeah, so like at what point did you decide, I mean, did you just run for the chapter president, or did you hold other offices before that, or kind of how'd you get involved in being like in I guess not management, but running a chapter?
I guess my progression with the chapter is, I got asked if I was interested in being on the board. I told them yes, and really that's how I got involved from the board standpoint. So really, my first task, I guess, or duty was to be in charge of table sales. So I did that for a couple of years, and then moved into the exhibitor chair role. Really just lining up exhibitors and donations and things like that. And we'd moved to a new venue the year before that happened, before I took that role. So I took the original design we had for that room and changed it a little bit. And I think it helped things from a flow and flow standpoint, and a better position for the exhibitors, but just a better use of the room, it seemed like. And we've kind of stuck with that initial plan since. So I did that for a couple of years, and then I guess, as you would say, I drew the short straw as being president.
I hear you. We're a part of the Stewards of the Wild chapter here in Bryan College Station, Meagan and I, and we joined too. It was like, okay, we're going to join. We want to help out. We want to do stuff in the community. We want to do stuff in the area, kind of build that chapter. And then it quickly evolves into being on the board or a part of the AC, which is like the advisory council, which I sit on and Meagan sits on. She's actually a co-chair for our chapter. So it, like you said, it evolves very quickly when you do start becoming a part of these organizations and groups and things like that. Especially we're members of SCI as well, but we haven't gotten to the point where we're kind of stuck in the middle. We don't really have like a local chapter. We would have to, like, of course, go to Dallas or Houston or something like that. But my experience with SCI has been pretty cool. And then like y'all's event and doing that. So along with y'all's vendors that y'all had at the event, which was really cool. I mean, y'all had just kind of give like a summary of like what kind of vendors y'all have there.
So I'll kind of start, just kind of preface it with kind of how our show is laid out. So, for our local chapter members, we have the first night is a Friday night. We'll have a exhibitor party where we just entertain the exhibitors and have them out, just a cocktail hour along with our chapter members. And it's just a meet and greet, and everybody gets to visit. Pretty casual event. That's after we set up the venue and everything during the day. And then that following morning, we'll actually open the venue to the general public. We started doing it a couple of years ago where we opened to the general public from 9 to 3. And so our idea was to try to not only gain exposure for our exhibitors, but really give exposure to the chapter and what we do and things of that nature. And it's the last 2 years, it's brought in roughly 1,000 people that had never been to our event and never heard of SCI before. So it is making an impact, and our goal is to gradually grow that. I think the chapter would both benefit along with our exhibitors just from having that interaction. And then at 5 o'clock we close that down at 3 o'clock, and then at 5 o'clock we open for just our banquet event. And so that starts with a happy hour for a couple hours, and we'll move into food service. And then we'll start our auction later that evening and kind of wrap things up. But exhibitor-wise, we had roughly 56 exhibitors this year. Nice. The year prior, I think we had 68. So we kind of sit in that window under 70 exhibitors. We can probably take up to 70, depending how many tables we sell for that year. So it's just kind of how we're laid out, and there's people from all over the world. Spain, Argentina, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Tanzania, Mozambique. Trying to think what else we might have had that was kind of unique. Some Texas outfitters, of course, and and things like that. I don't know. You were there as well. What stood out to you?
Well, always I love seeing the hunting rigs with the dog boxes and everything. Y'all had a booth, one set up there, I believe in front of a Champion Ranch's booth, kind of near where the silent auction items were. But like those, and of course the taxidermy, and it's been shared on social a lot. I've seen it on Instagram and Facebook. But Safari Studios, I believe. That mount, that mount with the coyotes and the buck is awesome. I saw it at DSC the first time, and I was like, this is really, really cool. And then coming out to y'all's event and actually getting to speak with them and stuff, it was pretty cool to talk about how they came up with that design. It's awesome. And I mean, if you haven't seen it, you need to search it, Safari Studios, and check it out, because it's basically a huge whitetail buck being chased by 3 coyotes, one of which is being tossed into the air by his horns, and the other 2 are kind of hanging off the back trying to bring him down. But it's something that unfortunately happens in the wild, but being able to bring that to life with taxidermy is pretty cool. But yeah, we had a great time at y'all's event. We cover a lot of events like that. Excuse me. And that one definitely stood out on how it was ran, for one. Smooth. Everything was on time. We had people there. Everything we needed or we got. So it was awesome. I like seeing those events and stuff that still happen, because I feel like those smaller shows, those local shows, of course, you have your DSCs and your Houston Safari Club, but those shows like your chapter puts on or kind of fill that, because a lot of people, especially in y'all's area, can't make it across Texas to go to those bigger shows, and it offers those vendors and those companies a way to reach the public, and then also the public to see those vendors and everything. So it was definitely awesome. And then kind of moving on, y'all's, like you said, you brought up y'all's auction and the evening festivities. That was the turnaround from leaving the vendor showcase and everything. And of course, it was all still set up, but then coming back and then having all the tables and all the gear and swag that y'all had, like the hat that you have on right now and the stickers and everything. It was really cool to see that. And I know that just from doing events ourselves with the organizations we're with, it really takes a lot of people that are dedicated to getting all that done. So, like, one question I had: do y'all do all that in house, or do y'all have like another company come set up?
No, we're almost 100% volunteer based organization. So we have 22 board members, and then we have one full time paid employee, which is basically our CPA.
Okay.
She also serves as our museum liaison, so she handles all the scheduling of events with our museum and things like that. But outside of our board members, we have about 18 really good volunteers that really come in clutch and trying to get everything scheduled and set up. And to be honest, I mean, everybody, every board member, every volunteer truly does their job flawlessly. I mean, it's really become a more of a well-oiled machine.
Yep.
We have the right people in place and things like that.
Yeah, because it really does take that, because being able to plan events and make sure that, because you're always going to have something come up in an event. You can plan as much as you want to, but little things happen. So, and being able to adapt and change and make sure things still move smoothly is a skill, and it takes those people that are good at it to be in those positions. But yeah, it was, like I said, it was awesome to see that turnaround, and then coming up with the food was awesome. I'm not sure who the caterer was, but it was great.
Ranchland Hills.
Yep. It was real good. And then moving into kind of the auction, we all had some awesome things to bid on. Different hunting trips, memorabilia, like the trip out to for the bighorn sheep photography thing. Like, that one was awesome. And then with the European mount,
yeah,
it was real cool to see.
That's a pretty unique donation, and we appreciate Elephant Mountain always coming through with that, and they're a group with the Texas Parks and Wildlife Service that we support every year. So
yeah, that's awesome. And then so kind of talk about how y'all's auction lays out. I saw that y'all had like a big spender award and different things. Do y'all mostly have like members that are going out and getting these people to come to the auction?
Not necessarily. I mean, next year, this was our 29th year, I believe. So next year will be our 30th, and a lot of the people have just come over the years and continue to support us. So as the organization, or as the event has grown, people look forward to it every year, and it becomes less and less on beating on doors, so to speak, to get people to come out and things like that. We always try to bring something new to the table, and the Big Spender Award this year was something that was one of our other board members brought to the table and said, "Hey, I think this might work, and let's try it out and see how it does." And it truly did. I mean, it worked very well for us. So.
Yeah, so y'all had almost, I think, 20-something different lots that were bid on from various people, like you said. But kind of talk about how much money was raised, and then kind of go into maybe some of the projects and things that y'all are using those funds for.
Okay, so this was our best year to date. For the last several years, we've been the #1 revenue generating chapter for Safari Club International. I will say that we're rather unique, though, in that because we are a foundation chapter rather than a 501c4 Safari Club International chapter. So our funds are our donations are completely tax deductible because of that. So we generated our best year so far to date, just over $1 million in a one-day event. which is something that we as board members, had set as a goal years ago, but weren't sure if we were ever going to be able to achieve. So it's nice to see that our fruition come true, I guess, so to speak.
Definitely.
And anyway, some of the projects we funded. So we were lucky enough that we were able to have events in 2020 and in 2021. 2020 primarily because we were before the COVID stuff happened. So we were one of the few SCI chapters that had an event.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was fall the same time it did this year. It was right before everything kind of went south.
Right. Yeah, we typically follow Dallas. That way, ease of use for those exhibitors. They hit Dallas, hit us, and then hit Houston. So we're all kind of the Texas show circuit, so to speak. But yeah, just kind of give you an idea of what we do. In 2021, we supported roughly $500,000 to both local and abroad nonprofit organizations. So, just to kind of give you some of the high ones, we did a project with Soaring Argentina for a Wayne Graham Memorial Clinic to be built in Argentina. We have a local Boy Scout ranch that's out in the Davis Mountains. We supported them for just their scout operation, or ranch operations, and things like that. Cast for Kids is one out of Abilene through West Texas Rehab. It's a youth and rehab fishing outing for the youth.
Oh, that's real cool.
We've supported Trinity Oaks for years. They recently started a Permian Basin branch here in Midland, Odessa area.
Yeah,
so,
I saw that. We went by their booth and talked to Tess Talley and John. I can't remember John's last name right now. John Stewart. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, so they kicked that off, and so this will be the third year that they've had a really successful HTO youth outdoor event. So it's a pretty neat deal, and they're always needing more and more volunteers to join in and help with that, because they're trying to grow it. And I think right now they're capped at 300 kids, I believe. So they'd like to get more.
Still a big group, but yeah, definitely have more. We've done some work with Trinity Oaks out of their San Antonio, or I guess they're kind of their headquarters, the Thumbtack Ranch. We filmed some stuff for them on the veteran hunt through Neutrina and things like that, Record Rack. So yeah, that's definitely a great organization to work with and partner, because they do definitely some amazing things from kids, like you said, with out in the West Texas chapter, and then also the stuff that they do for veterans and first responders. So
absolutely,
it's definitely something
so
good.
I'll hit a couple more local ones while we're here. Borderlands Research, they do a lot of research projects out in the Big Bend area. We support them every year. We have some endowments with Angelo State University, Sul Ross, and TCU. So we support those endowments. We mentioned Elephant Mountain with Texas Parks and Wildlife.
Yep.
New Roads Mission, that's actually a South African project, but builds children's homes, boarding schools, things like that in South Africa. Blood Origins, big supporter of Blood Origins. They're doing some great work.
Oh yeah, Robbie's a great guy for sure. I got to talk with him over social and everything, and then got to meet him at a few shows and talk in person.
And then Amy Bell, I don't know if y'all are familiar with like the Blue Bags program through Safari Club International Foundation.
I wasn't, but I remember seeing the show, the little short film that y'all had at the show. It was a great story, and being able to see what those things are being able to accomplish over in Africa is pretty cool.
Absolutely. So the Bell family is our chapter members here in the West Texas chapter, and so they've wholeheartedly supported this through the foundation, and we've followed their lead and really tried to push that project as much as we can and help them out. Hometown Heroes, that's a Texas organization as well, or recently Texas organization. They were at our show, and we continue to support those guys. And then Eco Defense Group, we did a project for Kruger National Park with those guys this year on getting a new Toyota Helix truck for their anti-poaching rangers.
Okay, yeah.
So
that's pretty cool, man. That especially like having them. It's tough to get equipment to those people and those guys working out there doing the anti-poaching stuff. Like I've heard from different organizations just how hard it is to get stuff and have them to be able to do their job. It's crazy.
Yeah, you'd be amazed at how much a bicycle helps them. I mean,
Yeah.
just something so simple.
Yeah, definitely.
Inner tubes for the tires. I mean,
oh yeah, I'm sure it's the one getting the bicycle is one thing, and then you get a thorn in your tire because you're in Africa, and then how long does it take to get a pump? How long does it take to get that?
Yeah.
Like you said, the inner tube or anything. You've been to rim, like yeah. I haven't been to Africa yet. It's definitely on my list, but I've had buddies that have been, and Megan's been also. She went to South Africa a few years back. But just hearing like about that and talking to guides over there as well, when they do come, like you said, for this, how they hit the show circuit here in Texas, and then they have to go back and they try to do a lot of because they don't have academies to run to. They don't have shields or anything else to go to get equipment for them to use. So they kind of have to grab it while they're here.
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, it's cool, man. Like I said, I love the event. It was a great time. Loved covering it. Glad we were able to, produce some content for y'all, and we'll have some videos from it coming out soon. We got a bunch of photos, awesome photos.
Yeah, great photos. Y'all did a great job.
I appreciate it. Definitely thank you for the opportunity to be able to do that for y'all. But now I kind of want to I know we didn't really get to talk that much at the event because we were both running around trying to do what we do, but I wanted to talk to you about kind of like your hunting background. How'd you grow up hunting? How'd you get into it? And then kind of some of the hunts you've been on, like you mentioned, how you found those opportunities to be able to go on the international stuff.
So, I guess I was blessed, more or less, to grow up with a family that hunted and enjoyed the outdoors. Both sides of my family. My dad's side of the family, they grew up farming, and then my mother's side of the family grew up ranching. So, in the sheep and goat business. So we always had the availability and access to land. And so I think that, growing up here in Texas, that's one of the downfalls of the way Texas is set up is there's, in the grand scheme, there's a lot of private land, but there's very little public land from a percentage perspective. So, like I said, I was lucky enough to grow up in that environment. And so ever since I was a little kid, my dad was always taking me out hunting with him and things like that. And it's something that I truly cherish. I mean, exposing me to that at a young age. So kind of started hunting myself, I guess, under supervision, of course, at 5.
Yeah.
And once I kind of started getting older and started shooting shotguns and stuff more, I kind of progressed more into liking the bird hunting aspect a lot more than just the deer hunting. It just seemed like a lot more excitement, and it was a lot more activity, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. You don't have to be as quiet.
Yeah. So from age about 10, 12 on up, I've really kind of stuck with the shotgun stuff is my true passion. But I did shoot 4-H in both shotgun and rifle, but primarily did rifle through the 4-H program.
Yeah. And that's kind of like I said earlier about like kind of how I found your page and saw it because same thing here. I grew up shooting through 4-H sporting clays and skeet and trap and all that kind of stuff. And like you said, it's shotgun shooting, hunting with shotguns, bird hunting is a lot more excitement. You get to be around your friends. You get to have conversations and talk about it. Talk about last year's hunt and how many birds you missed and how many birds your best friend missed and all that kind of stuff. So that was definitely kind of where we were very, very similar in that fact.
Yeah, absolutely. And in your generation, y'all had a lot more access to it. There was a lot more opportunity after 4-H in the shooting sports because it's really taken off in the last several years with all these state universities picking up programs and clubs like that and things like that. I mean, a good friend of mine is the coach at Angelo State, and he and I shot together in school. Just in leisurely, after school and things like that. And he said, "Man, I wish they'd have had stuff like this, when we were in college."
Yeah, and because when I was coming out of high school, I graduated, and I think the next year they started having the San Antonio rodeo shoot, and then the Houston. And now I'm a part of the committee that puts on the Houston shoot. We didn't have that. Like you said, some of the money that they're giving away at these things, it's like, man, I wish I'd have been there.
No, it's great. That's scholarship money for those kids. It's well needed too. I mean, I truly wish that was available, when I was at that age. I mean, that's something really special and really good.
Yeah, but the universities, I was fortunate enough I got to shoot Sam Houston State when I was there and go to nationals and stuff, but it was a lot of fun. I mean, even they have bass fishing teams now too. Right after I graduated from Sam, they had the Sam had won that national bass fishing tournament. Kids that love that stuff, there's opportunity for them.
Yeah, I think Angelo State's got one now. Tech has one now. I mean, it's really picking up, and I think that's great that their universities are encouraging, that outdoor lifestyle and shooting sports and things like that.
Definitely. So what got you, or how, you said you hunted whitetails, but you were mostly into bird hunting. So what was your first international trip, or I guess bigger game trip that you went on?
So I believe in 2009, I actually bought a hunt on the auction at an SCI banquet, ours here locally. And so my dad and I actually went on that trip together, and that was both of our first experience with Africa. And that's something that, he and I will probably never forget, something that we truly cherish, getting to spend that time together and see Africa and see the animals. I mean, it was unbelievable for, those that have never seen Africa. I mean, just the amount of game in these hunting concessions is truly amazing. I mean, just the variety and this multiple species, and the park system was the same way. We spent some time in Kruger, absolutely beautiful. We got to see rhino, got to see elephants and leopard. I mean, it was truly amazing.
Yeah, that's kind of the same thing. Like I've heard too, man. Like you can go to zoos and stuff, and you can see those animals, but when you're in Africa and you can see them and there's open space, it's different.
Yeah, being ground level with them truly changes your perspective.
Yeah, definitely. Because most of the time you're on a skywalk or something like that, looking down.
Exactly.
On it, you really figure out how tall a giraffe is.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty
and
cool.
You're really not at the top of the food chain when you're on the ground either.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. So, on that hunt, what did y'all hunt for?
So we were after 10 different species. I think both of us ended up with 8 during that hunt. All plains game animals, so nothing crazy. Kind of our first toe dip in the water, so to speak. And but from that point on, I mean, I was hooked. I mean, on the plane ride back, I'm sitting there thinking about when I'm going to be able to go back, plan my next trip.
That's what everybody says. When you're leaving, you're already planning your next one.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So is that how many times have you only been to Africa once, or how many times?
No, I've been twice. So our second trip was to Zim. That was on a buffalo hunt, and it was really, from Kruger where we hunted was not terribly far away, but just the amount of buffalo in that concession is unbelievable. The elephants in that concession were crazy too. I mean, walking through it, we spent some time when we first got to Zim in Victoria Falls, and what was terrible about that park there is that it's completely leveled. There's not a tree out in that entire park that's over about 5 feet tall, because the elephants, the amount of elephants that are in that park is far more than what its carrying capacity is.
Gotcha.
And I'm talking just landscape is just devastated. So we did a Zambezi River boost cruise, and I bet we saw over 1,000 elephants easily. And hippos. I mean, it was truly a neat experience just to see them all. That was my wife's first trip to Africa. Or well, I take that back. She'd been when she was much younger, but that was her first safari that she had been on, hunting safari. Yeah, and she really enjoyed it.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, like I said, I can't wait to go to Africa. There's 2 animals that I really want to hunt, and there's I can hunt these 2 animals and be done. Probably not. But if I cross these 2 off or experience
you'll start another
these
list
2 hunts, I'll start another list. Yeah, but one of them is Cape Buffalo. And
absolutely.
I want to shoot it with a bow, and the other is grizzly bear, and I want to also do that one with a bow. So whenever I hear somebody's been on a buffalo hunt or been on a grizzly hunt, it's like, okay, tell me about it. I want to know how did it go? How did it feel? I guess you can't. You probably can explain it, but you probably don't know. You probably won't comprehend it unless you're there.
Yeah, I don't think that you could ever project that excitement or that feeling, so to speak. But I mean, you've seen pictures where a buffalo is looking at the camera and it just looks like he's staring straight through you.
Yeah,
and that's truly how you feel. I mean, you know, what I was getting at with the elephants when I started out was in the hunting concession that we were in. There was so many elephants in there, but you truly couldn't tell that because the trees were so tall. I mean, they weren't destroyed like they were in the park. And so we were there before the freeze or before the cold weather, and so the mapani leaves were on all the trees. And best case scenario, when you were down there and we were on tracks, you might be able to see 50 yards, maybe. And so for 5 days straight, we spent all day on buffalo tracks, all day. And then we busted some buffalo, and we were after the first day. We were after three lone bulls, and then the last 2 days there was only 2 bulls. But we stayed on them, and I mean, we were busting buffalo that were 30 yards from us and never even saw them. And so the 5th day, the day that I actually got a buffalo, and it's funny because it's funny now to laugh because at the time, you know, it's like at 6:30 or 7 in the morning, and my wife and I just found out that she was pregnant right before we left. So we're getting out of the truck at 6:30 in the morning, getting back on these tracks, and I'm like, "Hey, grab a bunch of snacks and stuff because we may be out all day."
Yep.
And she's gonna kill me for saying this, but she didn't. She said, "I'm fine," and I said, "Okay." And so we're on tracks, and we bust the buffalo about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and so we just kind of say, "Okay, we're going to take a little break here and let the buffalo settle down, and then we'll get back on them." And that's when she has like complete hanger meltdown, and just totally loses it for about 10 minutes, and then she's like, "I'm okay after that."
Yeah.
And so anyway, so about 3 o'clock that afternoon, we get back on the track, and it's probably 4:30 or 5 when I made the first shot, and that buffalo was maybe 45 yards when I made the shot, and I had a window literally about this big to try to feed the bullet through, and right as I shot, he was quartering towards, and right as I shot, he turned and to sweep away. And so my shot ended up hitting way back. I was trying to angle across as much as I could, and so I hit him in the back of the rib cage. But instead of that bullet exiting the opposite shoulder like I'd hoped, it actually went straight down the same side and exited in front of the shoulder on the side that it entered. So it did destroy the shoulder, which was a good thing, but it made for a long and interesting tracking experience. But but thankfully,
what were you shooting with?
375.
Yeah.
But thankfully, those guys, you know, encouraged me to keep pushing him, and we kept pushing him until we got him. I mean, we didn't, not any charges or anything crazy like that, but he was trying to escape, and we got the opportunity to go ahead and take him. But it's a cool experience, man. I mean, they mean business. You know, I've heard a lot of stories about guys that had much more exciting buffalo hunts than that, you know?
Yes, definitely. I've heard stories too. It's, you hear those stories and you're like, okay, yeah, I understand. And then you hear another one and you're like, okay, maybe this might happen more than not, but that's pretty cool, man.
But once you hunt one, you'll hunt another one, I promise.
Oh yeah. It's like everything else. And people always ask me like, man, why would you want to pick something like that? Like, why is that your top hunt? I guess one thing, like you said, it's like going through that brush and being there with them. Like I grew up hog hunting, like we ran dogs, we did all that kind of stuff. So that up close and personal and tracking is something I really enjoy doing. So that's pretty cool.
Something about sheep hunting and buffalo hunting are the two that just really drive you, and you just want to do them all the time.
That sheep thing is, I've been seeing some sheep videos and never really got into it, but like now I'm like looking at the country, and of course I'm definitely going to have to go on intense workouts to be able to do that, because that is gnarly country you got to have to hunt sheep in. But yeah, that's becoming more interesting as well. I know you hunted at El Chaparral, and I believe you were mule deer hunting there, but they have sheep and stuff there. So what sheep hunts, I guess, have you been on, or you been on yourself or with other people or things like that?
With other people on the big sheep, for those that are listening, the best value in sheep hunting, without a doubt, is aoudad sheep in West Texas. I mean, you can do that somewhere between $4,000 and $7,000, and it is a full blown sheep hunt.
Yep.
And for years that has been one of my favorite animals to chase. It is a very wary animal, and they always can see you way before you can see them.
Yeah. I've had the opportunity to hunt those a couple times. Not in I guess we were in north of Del Rio, between Del Rio and Rock Springs, on a ranch that my fiance's parents leased. But her little sister, I think she was 16. We had just pulled in because we were going hunting for Thanksgiving. She pulls into camp. She's like, I shot an aoudad. I shot an aoudad. So like, we're all right. We'll come help her. She's like, we need help tracking it or what? She's like, oh, no, it's down. Like, we know it. It's down. So we're like, all right, cool. Let's ride out there. We rode out there and we pulled up on this aoudad. This is low fence place. And I get out of the buggy and I look at this aoudad, and I look at Rachel, which is Megan's little sister. And I was like, you realize what you just did? And like, we've shared it on our Instagram and stuff, but she shot it, we taped it out and we got it back in. It's a 32.5-inch aoudad. And she just was at the right place at the right time. And he showed up, and she quite didn't understand what she'd done, And then we're getting back to camp. We have service, and I'm like showing her pictures on Instagram with guys. And I'm like, look, see this aoudad? Yours is bigger. Okay, look, see this aoudad? Yours is bigger. And then I think then it started clicking for her. But yeah, it's real cool to see those animals, and like their hide, their horns. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. They're impressive. I haven't been lucky enough to tag along on a bighorn hunt. A good buddy of mine that we were at the Shap with was hunting sheep when we were there. But he's the kind of guy that always has all the luck. So, he shot his mule deer the first morning, and I think that evening, I believe it was that evening or the next evening, he had a sheep. So
yeah,
I was still chasing the mule deer, so I didn't get to tag along like I'd hoped. But no, I mean that ranch is truly amazing. I mean it's a spectacle. The outfit that they run there is first class.
Oh yeah.
There's probably not a better operation. I know from my hunting experience. There's very few lodges that are that well run, that have that class of food, that class of service. In any of my experience, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're truly all around first class outfit.
From the sheep and then the muleys too, like you said, you are chasing those. I had a small opportunity in Idaho. We went this past year to chase mule deer, and just going through the studying and research to the area we were hunting and learning about them. Like I definitely choose them. Don't get me wrong, I like elk. I haven't been elk hunting yet, but I like the idea of it. But muleys I think it's got something to do with like South Texas and deer and stuff like that. But the muleys got me definitely over elk.
Yeah, deer is always, is one that's passionate for most all hunters, and that's what really drives them. I mean, and that's, not to loop this back to the SCI story, but something we probably should have mentioned before was, that SCI is truly first for all hunters.
Yep.
And so whether you hunt rabbits or if you're just a deer hunter and somewhere in the South, SCI is here, and they're protecting our rights and do it daily, because our rights are always being encroached by people that oppose our point of view.
Oh yeah. That's like some people haven't listened to, that's kind of the reason why we started this brand, Tejas Hunt Club, and started the podcast and doing the content and stuff that we're doing. Of course, like we create content for other people and stuff, but it's just another way to kind of showcase that it's easy for people, everyday people. You don't have to be a hunter that goes to Idaho or Colorado or every year. If you just hunt one whitetail a year and that's all you do, you still have a voice, and you still have to use that voice to make sure you can still hunt that one deer a year,
Yeah.
from that guy or to the guy that's going to Alaska and chasing the sheep slam, or going to Tajikistan to hunt Marco Polos and stuff. Like, it's all on the same playing field. And it's going to take all of us. I mean, everybody says it, every podcast, it's going to take all of us being together, but it's the truth, because every day there's organizations that are trying to stop it for no good reason. Because they just can't stand to not have control over what other people are doing.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, yeah. So SCI's, like you said, does great things, and every person can do great things just by joining a chapter. If you join organizations, if you donate, just make sure you use your voice, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But those, like I said, those deer are just next level, because it's fun chasing them.
It was oddly enough, that was my first experience in truly chasing mule deer. We have mule deer out here as well, but I never had the opportunity here. And when I did, it was usually shooting does on MLDs, and things like that. But I've seen some big ones out here, but never was the one behind the gun. So
yeah,
that was a great experience for me.
Well, that's awesome, man. How'd your story go with the mule deer that you got?
So we were hunting early season, so it makes it pretty challenging. It's so hot still that the deer are really only moving about 15 minutes in the morning and maybe 20 or 30 minutes in the evening, and that's about it. And so we were actually set up in a feeding area where they were putting feed out and things like that, in hopes that they would travel in and come get a bite before it got dark or whatever. But we're also hunting during a full moon too, which is always a challenge. You know how that goes.
Yep.
But thankfully, I mean, due to how well that ranch is run and everything, and those guys were constantly pulling camera cards and trying to get everybody in camp what they were looking for. I mean, those guys got everybody covered. There were 6 of us in camp, and by the sixth day, everybody had taken their animals. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. I see y'all posted a pretty epic picture with everybody kind of in the courtyard with their mule deer and stuff. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, really cool place.
Yeah. Well, it was great having you on, man. I really appreciate coming in and talking. I don't want to hold you up too long. I know we've been talking for 43 minutes here, which is pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I appreciate you having on. Kind of. If you want to talk about where to follow the pages, how to get involved, if they're in the Midland, Odessa area, or anything like that.
Yeah. So the easiest way we do have a website, www.sciwesttexas.org. You can Google that and pull up our website. We update that a couple times a year, so it'll have dates and information there. You can contact us through that. Our Facebook page and our Instagram page are monitored daily. So you can log on Facebook, just search SCI West Texas. On Instagram, it's at SCI_West_Texas. But follow those if you'd like to get informed. There's also a link on Instagram where you can click on and join. Just make sure you select West Texas chapter. Other than that, that's about it.
Cool.
If y'all are interested in getting involved, let us know.
Yeah, we'll definitely put that in the show notes and stuff to have y'all's website and everything linked on there, Instagram stuff.
Thanks,
man. No problem at all, dude. Like I said, once again, thanks for coming on. Thanks for talking. We'll have to do it again for sure.
Yeah, sure. Appreciate you having me, and we'll plan a next one.
Sounds good, man.